Hello, this is Y Chromosomes Music, back with another edition of Genealogy Musician. And I'd like to apologize for the last film. It just kind of cut off. I didn't realize that I didn't have a lot of memory on my phone. So, as I promised last time, we're going to do this time, we're gonna look at the family group sheet, and I'm going to show you what you can do with the information that you put in that family group sheet, because you can go further than what you did just from that one family group sheet. You don't even have to get other information. Just whatever you have in that family group sheet can lead you to the next step. Basically, what you are doing is you are collecting names and dates and places. And the more names you collect, the more dates of events that you collect. Events would be like births, marriages, deaths, burials, things like that. And the more different places that you collect where you can, get records from the archives where those particular places are or where their records are kept, then that's how you get more information to add to your genealogical research. So that's basically the name of the game. And what basically you can do once you create a family group sheet is you can create more family group sheets just from the one that you created. If you look here on this family group sheet, there's my great grandfather, Franklin Henry Jernigan, excuse me, Franklin Henry Jernigan, and there is his father and his mother. Those are my great great grandparents, James Silas Jernigan and Mary Jane Bodine. And what you can do is you can now create a family group sheet for that couple. You can start with no information. You don't know anything about them, maybe. So, but you can put their names on there. You can put James Silas Jernigan and you can put Mary Jane Bodine. And you actually already have one child for them. You have Franklin Henry Jernigan. So you've already got one child. Now you just got to collect information about them and then about more children. That would be Franklin Henry Jernigan's siblings. So you can start a family group sheet from that. You could also start a family group sheet for Ella Mae Lindsay's parents. My other great great grandparents, William Joseph Lindsay and Margaret Ada Trucks. The same way that you've got here, you've got James Silas Jernigan and Mary Jane Bodine. You could have William Joseph Lindsay and Margaret Ada Trucks. And then down here, for one of their children, you could have Ella Mae Lindsay and her information, because you already got that here. Or you could go the other way. Instead of going back a generation, you could go forward a generation. Here you've got Herbert Joseph Jernigan, the son of Franklin Henry Jernigan and Ella Mae Lindsay. And you could create a family group sheet with him at the top. So that's what I've done here. I started a family group sheet on Herbert Joseph Jernigan. All I got to do is find a spouse and find any children for them, and you'd have a family group sheet started for them as well. Or you could start a family group sheet for one of the daughters of Franklin Henry and Ella Mae, for Marie Ada Jernigan. You've already got information about her, so you could actually start a family group sheet for her. You just put her in the spouse in where the wife goes there, and then all you have to do is find who her husband was, and you can get started with family group sheets for those people. So that's one of the things that you can definitely do for with the family group sheet right away. So once you have the information in your family group sheet, and we've got Franklin Henry and Ella Mae and their children, you can start creating a timeline of the events. Here I've already started, and here I've got timeline for F.H. Jernigan and E.M. Lindsay. And I've got the events in order of their occurrence. So if you look on the family group sheet, you'll see that, of course, in reference to births, the parents would be born before the children. So you look at the parents and you see, well, which one was born first? Well, here's Franklin Henry. He was born 16 April 1878 in Marshall County, Alabama. And here's Ella Mae Lindsay. She was born 31st August 1883 in Alabama. So what you would do in reference to your timeline, you would start with the earliest date, and that normally would be the birth of the oldest children, of the oldest person, or the father or mother in this case. And so there I've got 16 April 1878, Franklin Henry Jernigan, son of James Silas Jernigan and Mary Jane Bodine, born in Marshall County, Alabama. And then the next date that I have is 31st August 1883, Ella Mae Lindsay, daughter of William Joseph Lindsay and Margaret Ada Trucks, born in Alabama. And then the next event that I have is 21st April 1901. Franklin Henry Jernigan married Ella Mae Lindsay. And notice again, I don't have a location because I don't know where that was. And then I start with the birth of their children. 26 April 1903, Herbert Joseph Jernigan, son of Franklin Henry Jernigan and Ella Mae Lindsay, born in Alabama. And again, I don't exactly know where, but I just put Alabama. I know he was born in Alabama. 6 July 1905, Marie Ada Jernigan, daughter of Franklin Henry Jernigan and Ella Mae Lindsay, born in Alabama. And 22nd March 1906, Ruby Blanche Jernigan, daughter of Franklin Henry Jernigan and Ella Mae Lindsay, born in Alabama. And then I continue on down the line. This is my papa, my grandpa. 14 February 1909, Frankie William Jernigan, son of Franklin Henry Jernigan and Ella Mae Lindsay, born in Irondale, Jefferson County, Alabama. And on, on down the line. You just keep, doing those dates. And I actually have created the dates here before I put the information in. You can do the same thing. Just leave some space, for the information. And my dates, 23 March 1910, Susan Jane Jernigan. She was born 23 April 1912, 11 June 1913, 24 November 1915, 28 July 1967. See, there's a kind of a jump there because we don't have any marriages for the children of Franklin Henry and Ella Mae Lindsay yet. So we don't have a lot of events, and also the births of, the grandchildren of Franklin Henry and Ella Mae Lindsay. And we got 28 July 1967, 15 October 1968, July 1975, 5 August 1976, 9 November 1982, October 1985, 31st July 1990, and 25 May 2001. So basically what you can do is create this timeline, and that will give you an idea of when and where everyone was. And when you start going to look for records, then you'll have a better idea of where and the time frame and the locations for the particular records you're looking for. For example, we know that Franklin Henry Jernigan was born 1878 in Marshall County, Alabama. So in 1880, which was the time of the 1880 federal census, Franklin Henry Jernigan was about 2 years old. So, he was probably living in the household of his parents, James Silas Jernigan, Mary Jane Bodine, probably still in Marshall County, Alabama. So what that tells you from your timeline, you can say, well, that's where I probably could look for Franklin Henry and his parents in the census of 1880. That would be the first United States federal census that Franklin Henry appeared in. So then you can, go looking for that census and you can get information. Here you've got Ella Mae Lindsay. She was born 31st August 1883, somewhere in Alabama. The first federal census that she would have been in would be the 1890 federal census. However, the 1890 federal census was mostly destroyed. There are just a few scraps of it of different places. I think there's scraps of some census records for Perry County, Alabama in 1890. So the next real census that's going to be useful to us would be the 1900 federal census. In this situation, we're Ella Mae Lindsay. So the first census we would probably find her would be the 1900 census. Now we know that Franklin Henry and Ella May Lindsay did not marry until 1901. So we can probably guess that most likely as of 1900, both of them were probably still living with their families. So they were young people still living in their families. So if we found Ella May Lindsay, we could probably find William Joseph Lindsay and Margaret Ada Trucks. And since we know that Ella May was born in Alabama, most likely that's where the 1900 census of them is. So, and on down the line, we have all these different dates. Now we've got after their marriage in 1901, then their first child, Herbert Joseph Jernigan, was born in 1903. The second child, Marie Ada Jernigan, was born in 1905. The third child, Ruby Blanche Jernigan, was born in 1906. The fourth child, it was my papa, Frankie, he was born in 1909. Susan Jane Jernigan was born in 1910. So the next census after the 1900 census would be the 1910 census. We know that Frankie was born in Jefferson County, Alabama. So it's very likely that Susan and maybe some of the others were actually born in Jefferson County, Alabama. But we can probably guess that the place to look for this family in the 1900 federal census would be Jefferson County, Alabama. So that's how you take this family group sheets, and then from that you create timelines of events, and then from those, then you use those timelines to figure when and where somebody was, for instance, in the United States federal census. And that's about all we're going to look at today. It's about all we really have time for. I don't want to run out again. So the next time we'll be looking at the United States federal census, and I'm going to give you some tips as to how you can look online in one of my favorite sites, which is Family Search. Family Search is a free website, and we're going to look at Family Search, and we're going to see all the goodies that are there. And we're especially going to be looking for the United States federal census and try to figure out how to find people. So I will see you all then. Take care and have a good time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.